Alright, in this video, we will continue with our last activation of the 3 o'clock hour. Getting ready to go on to 4 o'clock. We got about, I'd say, in game time, about 15 minutes left. And we have one more cube in the bag. We'll just dump them on out. And there's the Russians. And I think it's a no-brainer as to who gets the cube. Unless you really want to sacrifice any more of his units. Bagavoo definitely needs to regroup. I mean, we need to get, everybody needs a cube. But now, in this part of the game, and this is basically a skirmish compared to all the units that are going to come on in the main battle. You can see all these divisions. These are all, we only got 6 divisions. And it looks like there's probably 24 total in the big battle. So this is more or less a skirmish. But already, fatigue is becoming a issue or deciding factor in this game, and it is more detrimental to the Russians than it is to the French. And another thing that's coming into a factor, a big factor, is just numbers. So there you go. So I believe the cube will go to Bagavoo. He'll suffer a penalty because they're tired, but they need to get back. He is licking his wounds from his massacre down in here. These are the only troops that came out unscathed, and they're going to try to hightail it on out. The only thing is, you want to get some distance. You want to get out of their range so they can't get behind you again. So that's what we got going on there. These are infantry. Don't be slow. Yeah, there you go. Ooh. The cube will go on to Bagavoo again. Alright, we'll be back with his movements. We'll see what we can do about establishing a line. These are all units that have fled back there, so we'll be right back. Bagavoo's deployment or movement is complete. There you go. Got out of there, but with a 2 movement point penalty, so I only had about 5 movement points when I got done. They were looking this way. By the time they got done turning all around, I had to use at least 1 movement point. You get 1 free face change, but anything after that's going to cost you. So when they took off from here, they only had like 4 or 5 movement points. I think we're good. We changed our facing, and we do have a marsh to the left and right of us. So if anyone wants to come in that way, definitely be getting bogged down. Here you go. We've moved some units in the square. Got Bagavoo and his Hussars right there, but they've been hammered, taking a bunch of casualties, so they're not as strong as, none of these units here are that strong. If you see underneath them, they all got hit markers. I think this unit might be good. Let me see. Nope, I think, well, no, he's good. Full strength. Alright, artillery's still on the hill. But that is the extent of it now. This artillery reserve here, these 3 units, and that also includes some Jaegers, also fall underneath Bagavoo's command. So we moved them, we kind of got them more situated in the city looking out. So these are heavy artillery. This zone here is a blast zone, so they'll be doubling or tripling their strength. I think there's only 1 in each one. As a matter of fact, the one underneath this one is still limbered. He can't have enough movement points to get unlimbered, so he's still limbered. There's only 1 strength point, 1 artillery battery there, and I don't know how many units. Hold on a second. Alright, 3 to 4 guns per point. So about 12 guns, about a dozen guns. In each one, so 24 guns there, heavy artillery, yeah. There you go. So I'm pretty sure, let me make sure, double check. Each strength point represents 3 or 4 guns. So there you go. 24 to 32 guns in these 2 hexes. That is it. We're putting all the cubes in a bag, even the fire cube. Let me see. I'm trying to think of a word. It was kind of peculiar or particular for this activation or this hour was that the fire cube got drawn first. It was the first one drawn, or the second cube. So yeah, we've gone a while before we had any fire. But we'll be back. We've had plenty of combat, so we'll be back. Right then, on to hour 4. each side gets reinforcements this turn. The Russians will get reinforcements to the west of this spot right here. You can't see it, but there's a spot here marked the 4th. A certain amount of hexes west of that area. So the Russians got, I think, maybe 1 or 2 divisions are coming in. But the French, I guess I might as well make sure we got this right. Oh, the 4 o'clock hour. The French have 2 divisions coming in. And the Russians have 1 division. So there you go. When we pull a cube, we'll have the reinforcement option. It might be a good idea for the Russians to grab the reinforcements right off the bat. There you go. It has been 2 hours since the battle's begun. French weren't even on the map. We've come on the map and cleared the heights to the left. It was kind of our main objective when we first came on. The right side is in critical condition for the Russians. If they can get some of these Essen units to help reinforce them. But again, these units here are all weakened from the last engagement last hour. And so are these. So, brittle Russian units. They're still firmly in control of Eylau. 0 victory points for the French after 2 hours. Alright, ready for a chit draw. But before we did, had to remember, and you have to remember when you're ready, to change the hours. That you have to flip your cavalry back over to their full side. Everybody was tired from their charges and everything, and we're all flipped over to full movement points. Untired side. Okay, we're ready. First chit draw of the 3 o'clock hour, 4 o'clock hour. Am I stand corrected? All right, let's see what we got here. Bad camera work. Who will it be? Place your bets, place your bets. Alright, I got one. Hold on. Will it be the red shit again? No way. Russians come up with the initiative and the incentive this hour. Who will it be? Or will it be to bring on the reinforcements? We'll be back. Alright, that is Zomov, I'm guessing. And he will be the man of the hour. And these are all the Russian reinforcements. They don't get nothing else after this, and it's all infantry. There you go. Line infantry, grenadiers, and a complement of 4 to 6 cannons per battery. So about 12, or what did we say it was? 6 to 8. Yeah, 6 to 8 cannons per battery. So maybe. Anyway. Oh yeah, that is it. That's all he's got. Ooh. And they're coming in over here. 4th Division is where that marker says. Yeah, he is the 4th Division. Wow, that's weird. Okay, well, I got it all set up. Alright, I gotta find out how many hexes, though. Let me look here real quick. Where exactly they got him coming at. 3 hexes west. Alright, so the 4th Division's here. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 3 hexes west. So here's come in spot. And the thing of it is, oh, do we really want to do this though? They're slow. There are some slow movers because they're infantry. It's gonna take about 2, 3 turns to get to the action. Ouch. Couldn't the freaking Russians afford that? Not doing nothing. Getting penalized. Oh, I think we're already set. I already looked at this. I mean, we could go for Essen, do a little bit of reorganization, but his troops are pretty well locked in next to these units here. It would be iffy. I like to keep them tangled up. Keep them here. We got these units here as like a little reserve. He hasn't been activated yet. Maybe we should need to get these reinforcements on the board. Be back. The Russians critically burning an activation just to get some units on the board. And they're a ways away. So there you go. I want to show you that 4th Division marker though. There you go, 4th Division. So it'd be like 3 hexes west of that. 1, 2, 3. Started off there, and there's where they are. That is a killer. Having to wait waste an activation on them coming in. They still got a ways to go. So not good. Not good at all. We're ready for another draw, and hopefully there's some justification in this world, and it'll be another Russian activation. We'll see what happens. Here we are. Grabbing them out of, I got one. It will be hopefully not a fire chit. We'll see. Oh, Russians. Alright, now do we waste another one? I don't think we're going to do that. I don't know. They are awfully slow. Yeah. I think we were going to activate Hessen. Or Essen. Hessen. Oh, shit. Oh, Essen. And let him get his house in order. Although, I don't know what's going on here. Let me look and see what's up. We might have to give these guys another movement here real quick. We'll be right back. We have changed our mind. And the thinking goes something like this. Before you can break through this line and this line and this line, I think I want to get some help. So, old, what is it? New Marov? Oh, New Marov, where I get this from. Oh, I still can't read that. The Somov. Old Somov. We'll get the cube again. And he is the 4th Division. Yep. There you go. And he'll be moving with a 1-point penalty for his infantry and artillery. So we'll be right back. Alright, there is the wasted activation cube movement. Still in column. And if we move again, we'll go with an even greater penalty. So I think his maximum movements this hour is just going to be right here. That might have been a mistake, but we'll get him close for the next hour, I guess. He's only allowed one more movement. Wasting 3 activations to get some reinforcements on it. The Russians are up against it, so there you go. That was a waste of a cube. And hopefully they keep on coming. Make up for their disparaging. Let me see here real quick. We got a cube, and it is Russian again. Wow, well, he can only move. He's got, let me see here. -2 movement points with a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. That'll get him up here in the action. About where we need him. That'll get him in the vicinity. Well, that'll be it. We'll be back. Alright, we thought there was something fishy. And upon further review, give a little pointer in here. West of the 4th isn't east, dumbass. GWG. I thought that was an awful long way to go. We were wasting activations. So actually, north, south, east, west. So they can deploy 3 hexes west, and that saves us a lot of time. And, you know, like I said, not the sharpest tool in the shed, but I just caught that. And this will be their starting spot. And they'll have 2 cubes, so I'll give them 2 movements. The first one will be fresh. And let me see here. The 4th Division. We got him with 3 movements for 3 cubes. So we're just getting ready to give him this 3rd one. So he'll get 3 movements from there. Yeah, that'll do the job. That's a lot more like it. We'll be right back. Alright, that's our first activation cube. I want to move them another one, and then we'll decide what we're going to do with that 3rd cube again. But there you go. That's your first activation cube. They get 1 more, but with a 1 movement point penalty now with their 2nd activation because they're a little bit more fatigued. We'll be right back. Alright, well, the Lady Luck pendulum is swung. And it does help to get my orientation right. And like I said, I knew there had to be something wrong with that. Wasting all that distance. I think the game designer sort of had that in mind. And after a while, after playing games, you can smell a rat. So I had a feeling something wasn't right on that thing. So there you go. There it was. Sure enough, got my left and rights, east and west, north and south mixed up. All right, there he is. He was able to get most of his units in line. And the key thing now is, what do we do with this next cube? Do we give it to Essen, straighten out his ranks, or let him complete some movements? Either or, we have to straighten up our defenses. I don't think there's going to be any offensive opportunities. Ooh, maybe Laval and his units can get some reinforcements, get something going on there. That's the French, though. Alright. Let me see here what I want to do with the Russians. We'll be right back. Alright, well, the thing of it is, we definitely, and you ain't here to know the time, but that definitely wouldn't be nice to, or if I was playing an opponent, to employ the old sand clock or whatever these are called. Name escapes me. But, yeah, taking way too much time. But anyway, we've come to the conclusion. And another thing, that's one of the enjoyable things for me is to sit down here and just look at all these what ifs. If these guys moved here, all the strategize, but in a real conflict, you wouldn't have that much time. Just saying. Because like I said, I can sit down here and it has no bearing on the video you watch, but a lot of time I just sit down here and I don't even record, just look at things. But anyway, we are going to press the subject with, not Vagabond, but, Somov. I don't know how to pronounce your name, but anyway, he has got some unfinished business. He's got units to move around and solidify. This will be the before, and we'll show you what happens after he is deployed. This will be his third movement, so -2 movement points. Be back. Solidifying the collapsed Russian right flank. There you go. Most of his units have come over here and gone in the square because of the close proximity of the dragoons who just tore up their comrades. Whoa. Alright, these boys here facing this way are good. Couldn't have moved them anyway. I gotta keep track of my divisions, but there you go. Solidified over here. Now we did bring the artillery down the road to get a movement bonus. That was it, and they're still limbered, so everybody else has got out of column. Moved him next to these boys here. Hold on a second, did I miss something? No, we're good. Alright. No reaction fire because we're not assaulting. And they're not cavalry. If they were cavalry, they'd get a reaction. As per, I was going to do a movement where was it? Oh, I was going to move this unit up to here or something. This unit here, somebody would have been able to, as a matter of fact, that's right. Need to move him back. He was looking like this. I almost moved one of these units over here to face him. And he was going to have a free pivot. And then he could have, I don't think he could have assaulted or reactioned because he didn't, not trying to enter to the front. It can get confusing, but you can only reaction to the front. So one of these units moved here and locked him in. He's already locked in with this unit anyway. He'd be able to pivot one. And I didn't have enough movement points to square up, so that's why I would have been here in line, and that's not good. So anyway, we squared up. Solidified the lines. There you go. Dragoons. That is it. We're ready for another activation cube draw. Wow. Alright, so it made a big 100% difference coming in from the west of that spot instead of the east. So there you go. That's more like it. Yeah. Reinforcements right in the nick of time. And the key thing here is trying to make the hardest nut as you can for the French to crack. All about defense. We'll be back. The draw from the draw bag. Back for our next activation cube draw. You can see so far in this 4 o'clock hour, there's been nothing but the Russians with the initiative, and the pendulum's definitely swung the other way. If that would have been 3 blue activations, ooh, yeah, I could see the game might have been nearly. The fat lady might have been walking toward the stage, but um, as it is now, they have taken advantage of their initiative and formed it pretty well. I mean, I could still use a couple more activations. I still might get one. See if we can keep the streak going. So we're ready, but the odds are that the French will get the draws and trips. The French have more cubes in the bag to start with, so there's some pretty good odds there for the Russians. Could be fate if they have solidified it on up. We'll see what the French can do if they get a draw. Let's see here. Give us one. I have me a cube. It could be a fire cube. Could be the old red cube. We'll see. All right. Well, the pendulum swings the other way. And now, law of averages seeks its own level. And we are back with the French activation. And they will all be fresh. Some full movements. We'll see which marshal at a time or general gets the cube. We'll be right back. All right, and first activation of the 4 o'clock hour. We are 2 hours into the battle. So far, it's been all Russian initiatives in this 4 o'clock hour. Just pulled a French cube, and here's the situation after 2 hours of battle for night quarters and Elau victory conditions. Alright, well, like I said, the pendulum swung the other way. It was all French last hour. This hour here is beginning with Russian reinforcements being able to come on and get in a position. French, maybe you could say that they were a little bit weary from their victories, but yeah, they were able to get their reinforcements on in. It is the first French activation, and the cube has gone to 2nd Division, 4th Corps under Laval. We're going to move his forces on these interior lines, which makes it a little bit easier. There you go. Got some moving to do. Our target. We'll be right back. Oh, it's a little bit of late night game, and it's just kind of common for this channel, so turn up the volume. We'll be back. All right, we're going to start off our movement part of the activation with moving this artillery, and the designers trying to represent all the cumbersomeness, or how cumbersome it is to mess with artillery units. And I guess these are handled by soldiers. I don't see no, horses pulling them, which is ridiculous, but whatever. But anyway, full movement points. It takes 2 movement points to change your formation. So to get it from unlimbered on up, turned around and everything, takes 2 movement points. Alright, so now they're all limbered. They got 2 movement points left. They get 1 free facing pivot. Alright, then with 2 more movement points, they want to head this way. There's 1 movement point. And there is 2, so that's all they can do with their 4 movement points. Once they get on the road, though, instead of the cost being 1 movement point for every unit but cavalry and artillery, it only costs them a half a movement point, so they get a big advantage being on the road as opposed to infantry walking along the road. So there you go, that'll be his movement. Next, we want to get these boys going. 5 movement points left. 4 movement points left. I believe that'll be it. There you go. We're going to stay in that formation. We wanted to get out there as far as we could. So like I said, when to change. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, there you go. We'll be back for the rest of the movements, and I'll show you that after I get everybody moved. We'll be right back. Alright then, 2nd Division, 4th Corps. Movement phase. Fini. There's their artillery. All these boys here took a lot of movement points to form up. Change formation. We were able to go this way through this unit because the stacking limit, you can have 2 per hex. Can't go anywhere near the cavalry. Cavalry always has 1 hex to themselves. Not even another cavalry can be on there, so there's a stacking limit reached there. So we had to come in through here. The only thing is, when we left this hex, it was a obstructed hex, a building hex to be specific. And when you leave a building hex, you got to stop. So we got 2 battalions in column, and some more battalions from around here, this area here. We're able to change formation. A lot of movement points to about face, basically. This is all the further they can get. So there you go. Laval's troops are on their way. Is that the 4th? 2nd Division? Yeah, but they're engaged. So if they, anytime you move away from these boys pointing guns at you, they're gonna shoot you in the ass. So he's locked in. These boys are locked in. These boys are coming to their general, and now we'll have our assaults. It will be this battalion and this battalion going downhill against that battalion, and this battalion going downhill against this battalion. So that'll be 1,000 men versus 400. And I don't know the strength. I'm probably thinking 2,100 versus 700. We'll be rushing down the hill with our bayonets towards them. Now they have an option to form in a square, and it'll give them a +1 die roll modifier. And they need it takes a 7 or less to make them a break, so they'll give them a +1. But their fire at the units coming in square formation is a lot less effective than if they wanted to fire in line formation at the boys coming down. Either way, I think it's negligible which one you want to use. You'll be firing with the 8 column. Let me show you here. With the 8 column, as opposed to the, I think you're in square, it's only 2 strength points. So this one to this one, yeah, or a +1 modifier on the assault roll. I think we'd rather go in a square, but it won't be automatic. They got to roll a dice to square up, and they'll be doing it at a big penalty because these units are right next to them. All kinds of realistic actions that are taken on the battlefield. And we're gonna take a little break, and we'll be back. Continue with Laval's assaults. Now these units here, brittle. Some reinforcements moving in, but the main task of this activation is to start to push away. Plenty of units to funnel on in and try to get our night quarters. We'll be back. Alright, get ready for some intricate. And not too intricate. I mean, it's a pretty simple game, but the way they do it, it's got a lot of realism in it. We might want to make sure we demonstrate how it's done. First things first, we got 2 units here basically that are being assaulted. These are some brand new units. They just got onto the battlefield within the last 15 minutes. But anyway, we have 21 factors going against 7. That'll be a 3-to-1. This one here attacking this one's only a 2-to-1. Now, after the attack, there's a good chance that this unit, and this unit might bail. Because of seeing their comrades getting their asses beat. Plus, like you said, you got over 2,000 French running down this hill, branding bayonets. So, the first thing we're going to do, though, when we see these guys getting ready to come and form as the Russians, we're going to attempt to square up. Alright, on a square roll, there will be no modifiers. This all pertains to cavalry, and we're assaulting, or we're coming at them with infantry, so there you go. Might have been a good modifier, and they would have had a good modifier if they have a leader present. They're not green. And I don't see, oh, you know what? No, he's not green, but no, they're all veterans. So we'll be rolling 2d6, looking for an 8 or more. 2 Russian die. said earlier, these dice could be green, or supposed to be green, but we didn't get those components in the game. Hopefully, the designer's got a new supplier. Or something went wrong with the manufacturing chain, because we were short components and all kinds of stuff. But looking for an 8 or more, and they succeed to go in square. And they get it. Alright, so with LaBelle leading his troops down the slope, the Russians about ready to, you know what, in their pants, form a square. Now also, before these guys assault, the square's going to fire at them, but at a very reduced rate, because most of their guns are looking this way, and the 2/3 or 3/4 of their guns are looking the wrong way. Ooh, another thing, I got this dreaded freaking robe on here. Robes are number one faux pas. Hold on a second. Number one faux pas on this board here. I'm just ready to put these units on here, and you gotta get kind of low. And whoa, I captured it before. Well, I know from using this stupid robe, but like I said, it'd be morning time. But yeah, wow, that could have been a real. And another thing is, look at these units. I mean, luckily I got no kids or no dogs or cats that run around on these boards, but oh my god, and you're gonna have these facings right, as a matter of fact. So boy, here, let's do it together. If we can have an operation, there you go. He actually needs to be, but you know, these gotta go this way. It can get very cumbersome. This could be, I can imagine. I mean, it's almost an art form to be able to get down here and get these things arranged. So yeah, I mean, I know what he's got to do, but yeah, this is oh, wow, wargaming. Okay, back to the task at hand. So he'll be firing. Hold on a second. From assault side to the fire side. Here you go. Square max. 2 strike points per direction times 1. So he'll be rolling. Ooh, 2 die on the 2 table. Looking for a high die roll. 7. Ooh. Doesn't do nothing. Alright. We had a feeling that was it. Alright then. We got a 3-1 assault with all kinds of modifiers. But that was it. The Russians squared up, seeing the 2,000 bayonet wielding French heading their way down the slope. Now they're on their knees with bayonets, butts of their guns in the ground, bayonets up. We'll see how it does for them. How's it going to work out for you? We'll be right back. Real quick update. Should have gave them a +1 for the defensive fire. Still would have only gave them an 8 under the 2 column. So there they needed a 11 or 12. But that's the chance you got to take when you go in the square. Now we will get a better modifier against we'll get a good defensive modifier against their charging. We won't get the +4, but we'll get like a +1 or a +2. And they want a 7 or less, so different calls. Half a dozen of this, 6 of the other, as they say. We'll be right back. And a snap. Back to the assault table. Yeah, I know. I like doing that way too much. Hey, low budget operation. Whatever special effects we can have, huh? Alright, we're looking at a 3-1. 21 going against 7. It's a modifier. First things first. We'll be right back. Alright, infantry assaulting with 3-1 odds. Whoop. And we get our -2 on the tally. No one in territory for the Russians. +1. -1 on the tally. In square formation, assaulted by infantry. That's why we did that. Another +1. Alright, the Russians evened it up. So no modifier. Alright then, charging, assaulting downhill. Big -2. There you go. And last but not least, we get our general bonus, our marshal bonus. I don't know what they are at this point. If they're marshals, we'll just say generals. And Laval leading the charge. So he will get a plus. Ooh, what's his ranking? 2. Well, no, rather a -2. Equaling out to a -4. So wow. All right, what a big difference is the number of units going down there. Although that big old momentum going down the hill, and I guess Laval's leadership tipped the scales. Looking at a -4, and he needs 7 or less on this roll. Low roll for the French. Ooh, that'll do it. That'll definitely do it. Alright then, -1 strength point and retreat. He can go. Oh, these units. Well, no, it's not stacking limits. Sorry, we're right. If it was exceeding stacking limits, we'd have to move these guys back, but I believe they can go through them. And infantry have to retreat their full movement points. If it was cavalry, he'd only have to go half, so he'll be going back to this area. And all these 3 units will make a stand. Taking a break, getting interesting. Be right back. There you go. And from a 7 to a 6 in strength points. Or, in other words, how many amount of hits that he has left before he breaks cohesion and flees. Alright, brand new reinforcements too. Welcome to the battle, boys. What a rude awakening. Alright, we'll see if we want anybody to advance into the hex. I believe we will. Let me check this out. We'll be right back. We're going to get this traffic jam a little bit unclogged, so Laval will be the one that moves on in. Alright, for now, we're going to go through and check for a stand for each one of these 3 units. Be right back. Alright then, ready to see if there's a cascading effect with the morale of all the units that just watched their buddies flee. Russians get a +1 for being in home field advantage, I guess, with the locals or something like that. But anyway, knowing the territory, they get a +1 on this die roll, and they are looking for anything smaller than a 6, and they bail. So luckily they get a +1 for that, but that's negated by the fact that some units in an adjacent hex retreated. So that's a -1. So now we got a 0 die roll modifier. But the big one is this one right here. It says infantry in a non-obstructed hex, which they are, within 3 hexes of enemy cavalry. So in other words, these 3 units here eyeballing this boy here and get nervous. And luckily, there's some dragoons here within 1, 2, 3 hexes. So -2 on this die roll, and anything under a 6, and they bail. We'll make it a Russian die. No, we'll keep a French die. French are the ones wanting to push them. So 6 or less, -2. And we'll go for this unit here being the first one. What do they do? 6 or less, -2. So it gets a 7. They stay. Yep, they stay. Next units. The Chasseurs hold. Now for the Grenadiers. -2. Grenadiers flee. Wow. And they take a hit. So the newbies that just got there running away, so they will go from a 4 to a 3 and regroup back by their comrades. I don't know if they called them comrades back then. It was more of a communist thing. Alright, hold on a second here. So, holds, fails. So, Vagaboots troops hold. Oh, what was that? Oh, I don't know his name. And he's underneath here. What's the new Russian general's troops bail? 6 or less, -2. Then we'll call it a video. Might not have to have the assault. That was the whole object. That was the whole object of doing that first, as a chain of effect. So now instead of these guys having to assault, I think it's pretty good. These guys are getting the hell out of there. -2. They get the heck out of there. 5 from us. Was it 7? Yeah. Like I said, wasn't the best at math. So they bail. Wow. Alright, now the added bonus. Oh. Strength point loss. Strength point loss. He can go here. Stacking limits already reached. Stacking limits already reached. He can't go there. So, and takes a freaking step loss, could get shot again on his way out. So it'll be 1, 2, 4. Wow. Alright, and I do believe, well, I don't think there will be an advance because there was no combat. They just failed because of this guy bailing, so no advance after combat. So that is it. We're calling it a video. Laval and the French coming on through. The Russians got to get it together. Corridor on its way. Next activation. Always key. Calling it a video. Be back.